You can start, ma'am.
Good morning to you all. The Oxford College of Business Management, under the aegis of Children's Education Society, is one of the leading institutions founded by late Shri S. Narasaraju Garu, and the unprecedented legacy is being continued by our chairman, Shri S. N. V. L. Narasimha Raju Garu. The Oxford College of Business Management's phenomenal growth translates the linkage between industry and academia, research focus, and prominent teaching fraternity into its consistent academic quality. The Oxford College of Business Management focuses on three core principles: education, research, and social participation. And we incorporate all three into our commitment with students and stakeholders. I, Sarita Bullamma, Assistant Professor, on behalf of the Oxford College of Business Management, welcome you all for the 4-day workshop for students on mental well-being. In today's globally competitive environment, being mentally strong and fit is the need of the hour. Mental health services are an important part of academic success and retention. On the above backdrop, the counseling cell of the Oxford College of Business Management has organized 4-day workshop for students on mental well-being. I take this opportunity to thank our chairman, Shri S. N. V. L. Narasimha Raju Garu, for the constant support throughout for all our events. I take this platform to thank Ms. Ujjwala Raju, the management representative, for her support. To start with day 1 session, I would request Dr. Nikita Alu, the principal of the Oxford College of Business Management, who has been a constant support throughout for all our events, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. A very good morning to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all our distinguished guests, faculty members, and students of the Oxford College of Business Management, and also students from various colleges across India for this workshop on mental well-being. The more we learn about mental health, the better we can provide helpful support to those in our lives who struggle with mental health conditions. Good mental health and well-being mean different things to different people, and every person has to find their own way to a life that is meaningful and satisfying for them. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and as adolescence through adulthood. This workshop focuses on the importance of mental wellness and combating the stigma that still surrounds seeking mental health care. COVID-19 has left many individuals, including healthcare workers, physically, mentally, and emotionally drained. To say 2020 was harsh on people would be an understatement. The pandemic is impacting millions of lives all over the world, leading to illness and mortality. It is not only affecting the physical but mental well-being as well. Now, in the current year, 2021, see to it that you prioritize your mental health and boost it with the vital strategies. It is the need of the hour to see to it that you make 2021 the year of good mental health by not ignoring your mental well-being. Well, today we have with us certified professionals who will be sharing their views on importance of positive mental attitude and mental well-being awareness during the unprecedented times, and also more topics related to the mental well-being. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Ms. Sharanya Prakash, who will be addressing our participants on mental well-being and emotional upskilling of the students. I thank Skilling India Private Limited, a new age skill development organization, for associating with us to conduct this session. Thank you. It is my sincere pleasure to welcome Dr. Ali Khwaja, who is the founder of Banjara Academy, service provider of life skills training service, free counseling service, and online counseling courses service in Bengaluru. In spite of his busy schedule, he has accepted our request to conduct a session in this workshop on positive attitude. I'm extremely grateful to have him here. On behalf of the Oxford College of Business Management, I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Ali Khwaja. I also take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Uma Warrior, Professor and Area Chair and a Chief Counselor at CMSB School, Jain University, who will be enriching our students on mental well-being awareness during unprecedented times on 19th, that is tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Thank you so much, Dr. Uma Warrior, for accepting our invitation to share your knowledge on mental well-being. And also, she will be discussing on the importance of mentoring and counseling for the students during unprecedented times. Dear students, it's up to you today to start making healthy choices, not choices that are just healthy for your body, but healthy for your mind. I'm sure this workshop will be beneficial for all of you. Thank you, one and all. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you, ma'am, and I welcome you too for the workshop. It is with deep pride and humility I introduce the first speaker of the workshop, Ms. Sharanya Prakash, Master in Psychology and Certified Trainer with Skilling India. Ms. Sharanya is a psychology graduate from Jain University, Bangalore. She has done a master's in psychology, majoring in counseling psychology. She is undergoing licensing and certification in various concepts which aid her in therapeutic alliances. She has dealt with students at various levels as both life skills trainer for the CBSE curriculum as well as coach for competitive academic section papers for the British Council examination. She has been working as a counselor for the last 4 years and her focus being on youngsters, adolescents and families. She also conducts counseling and guidance sessions for adults with a focus on mental well-being. We are indeed very happy to have you with you. I hand over the session to Ms. Sharanya Prakash for the further proceedings. I request all the participants to kindly disable your videos and audios. All your queries, please put it in the chat box, which will be answered by the speaker at the end of the session. So please enjoy the session. It's over to Ms. Sharanya Prakash.
Thank you so much for that introduction, ma'am. Without any further ado, I think I will take the session forward. I will be switching off my video for now so we can completely focus on the screen. I will be sharing my screen. This is going to be an interactive session, so kindly come alive in the chat box. So wherever it's not possible for us to unmute ourselves and speak, we can always come alive in the chat box. So let's begin. I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Great. Okay. So, as ma'am was very rightly saying, mental well-being and emotional skills has become one of the focuses, I can say, during the pandemic time. Why it has become so? Well, I think everybody has gotten a little bit of time and their lives have slowed down enough where they've had to focus and look at what's going on. So I think the focus came wherein we started realizing that not just physical health, but also our moods, our emotions, the way we are feeling through the day, all of these things have started becoming important. So I think that's the reason that everybody has recently made the shift in their perspective towards considering mental well-being as well. So let's start off with a small icebreaker. Now, the icebreaker is very simple. Come alive in the chat box and let me know Which song helps you get into a better mood? So we all are aware, I'm sure, that music is a great healer. A lot of us have this tendency where we use music to make ourselves feel better. So I invite everybody to the chat box here to discuss with me which song usually always helps them get into a better mood. It need not be a specific song. It can also be a type of music, maybe classical, maybe rock music, maybe Bollywood. So it could be anything. So come alive in the chat box and tell me what sort of music helps you. So Peter has said melody. Yes, greatly so. Yes, it does help. Sparshita says rock. Sanjana says pop, rap. Priya says melody. So I'll explain how and why each of these songs can, these type of genres can help us. So Kripa says R&B, beautiful. Melody again. Joel says melody. Okay. A lot of melody songs lovers here. That's great to hear. Retro. Mohammed says retro. That's great. Classical music, jazz. That's beautiful. Melody again. Okay, that's nice. Ballads. Oh, that's very interesting. Old melody songs. Dr. Chitra says old melody songs. That's nice. Sangeeta says classical. Swati says Hindustani Sangeet. That's very nice. Matthew says instrumentals. That's very nice. Rashmi says Shreya Ghoshal song. That's nice. That's very specific and very beautiful. Ghazals. Very nice. That's beautiful. Jazz again. Flute music, instrumentals, very nice. Thank you, Rekha, for that. Okay, so thanks everyone for the responses. That was beautiful. And I'll just take 2 minutes here and kind of explain why we could have the preferences that we have. So more often than not, what happens, it's what we listen to or what we do when we want to feel in a better mood is a reflection of how we like to exercise ourselves or how we like to take out whatever frustrations that we may have. So those of you who listen to melody in times of distress, in times of irritation, you like to calm down. Those of you who like to listen to pop and rock and things which are at a higher pace, like to dispel it from your body. And those of you who like instrumentals or classical would rather pay attention to the movement of the songs than to the wordings. And so you get the idea. Classical music, of course, has always proven to have a lot of scientific effects, not just Indian classical, even international classical as well. For example, if we take Beethoven symphonies or Mozart symphonies, so these have proven effects starting from prenatal, that is when a woman is pregnant. If she listens to these sort of symphonies, classical, even in our Carnatic classical as well, we have the Maya Malava Gaula, so that raga as well. So a lot of these things have proven brain effects. There's brainwave movement when we listen to these songs. So that's the reasoning behind why you like the songs that you like, to help you get in a better mood. So that's a great thing. Thank you so much for answering, everyone. Let's move further. So let's understand what mental well-being is. Our mental well-being is about our thoughts and feelings and how we cope up with the ups and downs of life. Now, mental health and mental well-being are two very separate things, mental health or having good mental health is, in one sense, having the absence of a mental illness also. Mental health is wherein you are in good health. For example, how in physical health you have, when you have absence of any diseases or any illnesses, it gets considered as physical health. Mental health also is very similar, wherein having the absence of illnesses is also one definition of mental health. It's not the only definition. However, mental well-being stretches a little beyond that. Both of it influence each other. That is, mental well-being and mental health definitely influence each other, but mental well-being is your everyday life, is your everyday movement of your thoughts, is your everyday feelings, your emotions, how you're coping with it. So mental well-being is more a broad spectrum term than mental health itself. So what happens in mental well-being? We do a lot of things to cope up. So we have a lot of things. For example, music was one of it to maintain good mental health. So whenever you're feeling down or something, I'm sure you go listen to music, or you go do some exercises, or you go for a run, go for a walk, play something. So there are many varied activities that we do to kind of bring our mood back up. So that's mental well-being. That's you taking actions to improve your mental well-being. Now, mental health gets influenced by mental well-being. That is, low mental well-being for a long time can lead to development of diagnosable mental health conditions. So when you're constantly low, or when you've constantly suffered with not having good mental well-being, it can lead to some conditions. Of course, I'm not saying this to worry or develop anxiety with everybody here, but we need to pay attention to our mental well-being. And I think that's the purpose of the series of workshops that your college has beautifully organized, so that we can ensure that we pay attention to our mental well-being before it leads to anything else. Now let's just see what mental well-being, good mental well-being, looks like. So it's not just the absence of negative thought. For example, I'll give you a small idea as to why a lot of us have negative thinking patterns. So when we were all cave dwellers, when we used to live in caves, when we hadn't evolved as much yet, there is this prefrontal cortex in our brain that is just before, right behind your forehead. So the prefrontal cortex developed the fight, fright, or flight series, which is our brain being attentive towards situations around us so that we can immediately react in case there's any danger. So we had to be constantly alert to any danger around us. Now, what happened with movement of time and evolution? Now we have 4 walls that is protecting us from any wild animals. So our prefrontal cortex has no job to do, but the flight, fright, or fight sequence is still active. So many times what happens, your prefrontal cortex is assessing situations to see if there's any threat and danger. So many times what happens, when a situation comes in, your brain may land up assessing it worse than what it actually is. So you land up thinking the worst of a situation, you land up thinking the most negative of a situation. That's typically how negative thinking works. So don't worry if you have excessive negative thinking. Of course, it is something that you need to talk about if you feel it's causing trouble or worry, or if it's harming you in any way. It is something you talk about to a professional, but otherwise there's a reason behind negative thinking. Now, we all face difficult and challenging situations, and it can cause us to become angry or overwhelmed, sad, and sometimes we feel happy, we feel jealous, we feel rage. There's so many emotions in between. Now, instead of being able to understand and manage those feelings, what are we generally able to do? Now, let's say we have the negative spectrum of feelings, so to say, to put it in layman's terms. Let's say you're feeling bad or sad or angry or loathful or rage or jealous. Now, what do you do about these things? How you deal with it? That is what determines mental health and well-being. So despite everything that's happening around you, if you are able to feel confident in yourself, if you're able to build and maintain positive relationships, if you're able to have a sense of purpose, if you're able to live and work productively, if you're able to cope with the normal stresses of day-to-day life and manage things when they change. Now, these are all typical, I can say, markers that involve basic well-being. Now, if you're able to do basic things like this, I think that would suffice to say that we are trying our best to maintain a good mental health and good mental well-being. Now, in the event that you have a little difficulty in managing these things, I think that should be fine, because at the end of the day, we are still humans. But you need to pay attention when these sort of things become overtly difficult for you to manage. When basic maintenance of your positivity, when basic maintenance of your lifestyle and your productivity, your sense of purpose, hope, when these things are taking a large hit, I think that's when we need to pay attention and kind of check what's going on with our mental well-being. Now, let's see what are the things that will affect. For example, right now, what we have is a very great example of how things are not in our control, and yet it affects us. Just because something is not in our control, that does not mean it will not affect us. So many other things, such as bereavement, illness, or redundancy. Redundancy is wherein you've gotten into a cycle which you're not able to break, and you're not having anything to look forward to, in a sense. So in these situations, it's about how we respond that will determine the impact on our mental well-being. For example, do we tend to reach out for support, or do we withdraw? Do we assume the worst or remain open to new opportunities? So every time, in every situation, we have two options, we have two perspectives. Which do we choose? It's here that our level of resilience comes into play. Resilience is your ability to cope and change with an adversity. By strengthening your resilience, you're better able to maintain good mental well-being throughout all of life's ups and downs. So typically what happens here, when we say resilience, we do not mean that despite any traumatizing situation that you're always keeping a positive face and saying everything will be fine. That's toxic positivity. That's not what we mean. What we mean when we say resilience is that you understand that yes, situations can change. Not always will we have ups in our life. There will be downs as well. There will be negative situations, but we will get through this. It will be very difficult to get through it, yes. But nonetheless, we will be able to pull through it. We will give ourselves time to go through what we are going through. And we will remain strong. When we have to take support, we'll take support. When we are weak, we will lean on somebody else. But at the end of it all, we will come through. That's resilience. So maintaining resilience will positively influence mental well-being. Now, let's play a small game here. The shortest short story. So I invite all of you again into the chat boxes here. Chances are you've written a short story in your life. Using just 7 words, craft a complete story. This game challenges your creativity and requires you to search your brain for the most impactful vocabulary. I'll explain to you why this game is relevant. For example, consider Ernest Hemingway's iconic 6-word story, For Sale, Baby Shoes Never Worn. Anybody heard of Terribly Tiny Tales? I think in a span of one small paragraph containing maybe 4 to 5 sentences, they are writing stories there. So I invite your creativity here to the chat box. Give me your shortest short story using just 7 words. Craft a story. You can take 2 minutes to think. I'll be patiently waiting. When you're ready, please type your responses into the chat box. I think I'll prompt one by going first. If you're finding it very difficult to go with 7, you can go with 10 words as well. I think I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, I've used 7 words. Muhammad Azam. Somebody, best friends, break trust, nobody. Okay. Muhammad, see, these are these words that you have given here. It doesn't have a sequence, right? So I'm not able to, can you help me understand what is the story here? If you can put it into a sequence wherein we can understand, that'll be more helpful, Muhammad. Anybody else? Think, just rack your brain for 2 minutes. Using 7 words, can you craft a story? For example, look at what Ernst Hemingway said. So he's communicated an entire series in just 6 words. Senthil says 7 million, 1 bronze, who will? Okay, I think you can add just one more word into that to make it more to make it more comprehensive. 7 million, 1 bronze, who will win? Probably, you know. Shweta, man grows plant, expects gold. Perfect. Peter says in a 3-word sentence, rabbit hail race. Okay. Matthews, he loved her, and sometimes she. Perfect, Matthews. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was very apt. That was very complete in itself. It makes a lot of sense, and it's a free flowing statement. That's beautiful. 8 words, I think, right? So perfect. Jason has written, spent 15 years for a 2-page. Beautiful, beautiful, Jason. That was wonderful. So Sushma says, packed it up, never looked back. Perfect. Very nice. Anybody else? Try. Don't hold yourself back thinking, will it be right or wrong? There's no right or wrong. We're working together here. Try. Shweta has used time immemorial statement and they lived happily ever after. Perfect. Anybody else? All right. So, guys, if you do come across, you can always type it in the chat box. It's always open. This activity can run till the end of today's workshop. No worries. Take your time. I will continue, however, and as and when I see the chat box, if I see something, I'll read out your messages to the entire group. All right. Now, the reason behind this activity here is creativity has been proven to be one of those elements which help in improving mental well-being. So when we think of how to improve mental well-being, we need to look at a lot of things. One of it is emotional upskilling. So when we are looking at mental well-being, there are so many aspects to it. There's even physical well-being, there's emotional well-being. Now let's look at how emotional upskilling is going to help us in maintaining good mental states and maintaining a good mental well-being. So emotional well-being, it refers to the emotional quality that an individual experiences. So when you're experiencing a range of emotions, it's not to say that you have to only experience positive emotions. It is how you deal with what you're facing and how you react and what is the quality of the experience that you're facing. Now, on the positive side, enhanced emotional well-being is seen to contribute to upward spirals in increasing coping ability, self-esteem, performance, and productivity, even long life. The connection between mind and the body is so strong that mental and physical states feed into each other in both a positive and a negative way. Feelings depend on thoughts and both determine attitudes and actions. Now, I can take you through a small example here. I'm sure you would all face this when you're anxious, when you're, let's say, about to go on stage or about to go into the exam hall. We have a term called butterflies in our stomach. Now, that's a very easy connection, which we can see, mind body connection. Now, what is happening here? How does this link into mental well being and emotional upskilling or emotional well being? So, what we can see here is when you have a thought of anxiousness, your body is immediately responding to it by having butterflies in your stomach. Now, a lot of people, for them, it's natural, it's general, and they kind of brush it aside and they still go ahead. But for some, that sort of an anxiety that builds up in their stomach is very high and they start reacting to it, right? They probably, a lot of them could get stomach upset. A lot of them really fuss over it in their minds and they kind of forget a lot of things. They forget what they have to say, they forget what they have to write, so they are affected that way. For some, it becomes very difficult to go ahead with the task, so they go back. Now, emotional well-being is understanding that yes, I'm anxious. Yes, my body is responding to my anxiousness. I'm aware of this, but I'm also going to be resilient. I'm going to push forth and see what can happen through this. I'm going to go ahead and complete this task. So the quality that you experience, the way you deal and you cope with your emotions at any given particular point of time, that's emotional upskilling, that's emotional well-being. Now, let's see what are the factors that influence emotional well-being. Um, so lower levels of stress and anxiety obviously will give you better emotional strength, emotional health. Autonomy and competence. Autonomy is basically independence. So if everybody needs to have a sense of autonomy, right? Everybody needs to have a sense of independence, a sense of, yes, I can do this on my own. I need not depend on anybody for this. So a good sense of autonomy is very important. Sometimes there's also misplaced sense of autonomy or self-righteousness where we feel that I don't need anybody, I'm perfectly fine on my own. Now that may not be that healthy. So a healthy sense of autonomy and competence, that is, you are skilled enough to compete with something. Positive relationships, optimism, self-esteem, clear values. And when I say values, this is not moralistic, or rather when we say moralistic values, it is not just religious values or it is not very binding guilting factors. As long as you have your values clear and you're sticking to it, that's what we mean when we say clear values. When you have your values clearly defined. Self-realization, that is understanding who you are, what you want, what you're expecting, where you are headed. Of course, self-realization by Maslow's theory. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of Maslow's theory. Self-realization and self-actualization is one of the highest ranked, or the top of the pyramid concept. So it's not so easy to get that. I understand that, but at least if we step on the path of self-realization, I think it'll still help us in maintaining a good emotional well-being. Happiness and joy playing to one's strengths and having a meaning and purpose in life. And especially in a time of pandemic, I can personally vouch for this. Altruism and charity and helping others in need, it goes a long way. It contributes to our emotional well-being. So when you do something for somebody else without expecting something in return, when you're helping somebody, it very immediately and very clearly has a positive effect on our mental well-being. So I urge all of you to kind of explore that aspect, given today's times especially. Now, let's see here some tips for a balanced mental health and for balanced emotional skills. Now, what we are doing here is called emotional upskilling, where we are learning ways to maintain good emotional well-being. So that's what emotional upskilling means. So let's look at some guides. So from here on, it's a lot more infographics and pictorials. So I urge all of you to kind of look into the screen for this. Some key guides, probably, for better mental health, for better mental well-being. Social connections. Now, this is an address even to the introverts here. When we say social connections, we do not mean, you're always amongst people and you're always in parties and you're making a lot of social connections and career connections. That's not what it means. When we say social connection, it means you are connecting to anybody other than yourself, wherein you're putting an effort towards probably helping another person in their process to mental well-being. So it could be one friend, it could be two friends. We don't mean a party of hundreds of people when we say social connection, but having that sort of a connection with somebody other than yourself, right? So human being is a social creature, right? We crave social attention, we do crave social company. And how much ever of an introvert we are, we will have that one person or two people out there who we are okay to open up to. So at such a space, when we look out for the mental well-being and the emotional upskilling or the emotional well-being of another social creature, that's what we mean by social connection. So maintaining healthy social connections, staying active, this regards to both mentally and physically. Now, the exercise we did here, the short story exercise and creativity, that's a mental exercise. Similarly, a lot of things that you can do to remain mentally active is you can always go ahead and solve puzzles, sudokus, wherein you're keeping your mind active. There's a difference between keeping your mind fresh and keeping your mind active. So you need to work. It doesn't matter how old you get. It doesn't matter if you've finished your education. Never stop accessing your brain, never stop teasing your brain. So always look into some form of exercises which will puzzle your brain. Look at puzzles, look at crosswords, look at sudokus, look at memory exercises, look at all of these things, creativity exercises, which will help you fire your neurons. Don't let that go. That will help your brain stay active, and it in turn improves mental well-being and emotional well-being. And of course, physical fitness, I need not wax eloquent on that, because it's very clear to everybody how much importance physical well-being is, how important exercising is. I know it's a pandemic time, I know you're not able to go to your gym, but at least every day for 10 minutes in the evening or 10 minutes in the morning, whenever you're free, go up to your terrace, inhale some fresh air, just walk around a little, stretch a little. You need not do heavy exercises if you don't want to. Just stretch a little, just walk around a little, do a little bit of bodily movements, maybe dance to a tune in your head, but stay active. Managing stress, we will have a little more detail on that in the coming slides. Brain healthy diet, that also we will have a little bit of detail, but in a large context, I think everybody knows about this. Maintaining a healthy diet, more tending towards greens, and a little bit less of sugars and a little bit less of unhealthy carbohydrates, maidas and things like that. Brain healthy diet. Quality sleep. Ensure that you get at least 7 hours of sleep on a daily basis. It helps with your memory. It helps with your mood, because when you are sleeping, your brain, so this is a proven research. They did this on rats as well as humans. When you're sleeping, your brain does something like garbage cleaning, right? So there are two types of garbage cleaning that your brain does. One is through dreams. So whatever your eyes and your ears, they get a lot of stimulus through the day. They absorb a lot of information. So when you sleep is when your brain takes the time to make sense of everything that you've seen and heard, to see what is relevant and what is not relevant. So this is where it makes a decision of what needs to go into your long-term memory, which you need to remember, your short-term memory, which it quickly, just processes and throws it outside. So when you sleep is when your brain does all that work. So that is one type of garbage cleaning. The other type of garbage cleaning is whatever excessive neurotransmitters and toxins that gather up in your brain. And let me assure you, toxins do gather there, because when brain activity is produced, there's always a byproduct, right? So brain activity is produced and it is done through chemicals, right? It is done through your neurotransmitters. So when neurotransmitters are involved, there is obviously a byproduct, which is toxins. And when you have too much toxins build up in your brain, it's not good, and especially over a long time. So when you sleep well, your brain cleanses itself of all of these toxins. So, and it's proven that those who have quality sleep, they can delay the, of course, this is not an Indian statistics that I'm giving you, it's in the US, because the prevalence of Alzheimer's is very high in US. But their studies have shown that those who sleep better have a lesser chance of developing Alzheimer's at an early age. So they see that as people age, their sleep reduces, and reducing sleep does increase their, their chances of getting Alzheimer's. We're not saying that if you're sleepless, you're going to get Alzheimer's. That's not what we're saying. But for those who already have it in their genetics, who are already predisposed to it, who are at other health concerns as well, for example, those who have had issues with, other degenerative issues, or those who are very prone to smoking or alcohol and things like that. So these things kind of expose you to a few certain things. So when there's already a ripe ground for these sort of things, very little sleep or less sleep and not giving your brain an option and a chance to kind of clean its toxins has shown effects on probability of getting Alzheimer's. As I said, this is an American study, not an Indian study. So we are yet to see how it affects our population. So always ensure you get quality sleep. It helps with your memory as well. So before an exam, don't pull an all-nighter. I speak of this from experience. I have done this experiment on myself. Let's say you were awake all night and you completed all the modules and all the chapters that were there for the exam. Chances are the next day you don't remember everything so clearly, and it's more difficult for you to recall. Whereas if you sleep and let's say, yes, you did not complete one module, you completed only 4 modules out of the 5 that you have. But at least if you've had a proper sleep, you can at least recall the 4 modules in far greater detail than you would if you did not sleep. Meaning and purpose, as I said, this altruism has always proven to kind of help in our mental well-being, because we feel it all ties back to kind of a sense of self-worth. Also, I can say, wherein we feel that we're not only selfish, we're doing something for somebody else, right? So it has shown, that's what the research says. So it's shown effects on mental well-being and emotional well-being as well. I want to invite you guys to the chat box right now, wherein you can just quickly tell me what are some of the ways that you have, to maintain positive mental health. What are some of your tips that you use? So I invite you into the chat box while I progress further in the slides. So there is something called as a brain gut. So this is just a quick, FYI, sort of a happy did you know section to kind of, because I've been speaking on heavy content for so long, I thought I'll give you a break here. So there is a direct connection between your mood, your brain, your thoughts, and your stomach. It's called the gut brain or the brain gut. So one did you know fact I've put here: good intestinal bacteria produce over 30 mood enhancing brain chemicals. So happy tummy is equal to happy brain. So you look after your digestion properly, you look after the food you eat, it automatically translates to better mood, because it's all chemicals at the end of the day. So the better food you eat, once it gets digested, it goes into your bloodstream. It helps you release better hormones. It helps you release better chemicals, biochemicals in your body. And thereby these hormones and biochemicals affect your brain because they travel to the brain as well. So, that helps in keeping a better mood. So Muhammad Azam has said meditation and music is something that he does to maintain his mental well-being. Thank you so much for that. So about this, so brain and gut, it's also the reverse is also true. I'm sure a lot of you have had issues when you're anxious, when you're jittery, you've not been able to eat or you overeat. So me, I overeat. So if I'm very stressed about something, if I'm very anxious, I keep munching. So if I'm studying something, if I have an exam due, I have a room full of snacks. Now, yes, I know very well that this is not healthy. So instead, what I started doing is, because I can't stop myself from snacking, I keep a lot of healthy snacks. I keep seeds, I keep nuts. So I keep fruits, I keep things which will not kill my digestive system because I'm anxious. So the reverse is also true, wherein the brain and its feelings and its emotions also influence the stomach. So Chitra says she watches a comedy channel. Oh, humor is one of the best deflections for emotion. So a lot of people use humor. So, okay. So Gayatri, Chanchal has said Gayatri mantra and yoga helps maintaining mental well-being. So that's yes, it has it has those reverberations which help in brainwave movements. So yes, it does help. I'm in agreement with you. Yoga also definitely, because it enhances our breath movement and our ability to take in good breath, and it stretches out our body, so it helps in oxidization inside ourselves. So yes, that's a great way as well. Chitra said, you said keep low on carbs, but what about cravings to eat chocolate ice cream when you feel low and having them makes you feel better? Okay, so what happens in the case of chocolate is there is this component called cocoa, which is that's the flavor of chocolate. That's what gives chocolate its flavor, not the sugar. So what you can do is, when you have a feeling to crave chocolate, so this cocoa, what is there, that helps in releasing happy hormones inside us. So it releases the good hormones, it releases serotonin, it releases oxytocin, it releases endorphins. So in mild quantities, in small quantities, right? So that is why you feel better when you eat it. It definitely releases the good hormones inside us. It helps us. So what you can do is, you want to control your carbs in terms of sugar. So what you can do is, you can eat dark chocolate, and not the fancy dark chocolate, which is actually just normal chocolate, which is bitter. When I say dark chocolate, I mean genuine dark chocolate. So there are a lot of products, there are a lot of companies which release it. You can get it in the normal supermarket itself. Just read behind in the contents, just check the sugar quantity and the cocoa quantity. Ensure the sugar they put is lower and the cocoa quantity is higher. So you can always snack on dark chocolate. So thereby you have the best of both worlds, wherein it helps you release the good hormones and the good chemicals in your brain. And at the same time, it helps you keep your carbs low. So I hope you have answered your question, Chitra. So Sushma says yoga, definitely. Indu says eat a tummy full and have a good sleep. Perfect. That always helps. That's our grandma's recipe and it always helps. Sparshita, sleep or you watch Friends. As I said, comedy is something that's always helpful. And especially Friends, this show has become something like a comfort zone for all of us. So going back to our comfort zone always helps. Yes. So sleep or music or talk to closed ones or play games. Yes, most definitely. All of it helps. Music and dance, playing with dogs. Oh, that definitely helps, playing with dogs, because we release oxytocin when we see our pets. So not just dogs, any pet you have. So Chitra, dark chocolates are like, I think, I'm not sure of Bonewill's consistency. You may have to read the label behind to see how much sugar they have. I think Cadbury's releases a dark chocolate. It's a big bar. You can get it in a store. It'll usually be in the baking aisle, because a lot of them use it for baking and things like that. That's pure dark chocolate, so you can get it there. Rashmi thinks singing, sketching, or watching series, or even sleeping. Perfect. Sketching, especially if you use mandala and things like that, that's very helpful as well. Great. Thank you so much, guys, for coming there. I'm going to move ahead in my presentation. I think we have just another few slides left, so don't worry. So here we have some top 20 powerful mood boosters. So when I said brain happy food, add some more to this, which is not here. Avocado, see, we do not get blue potatoes, so don't worry about that. Avocados, we get dark chocolate, we get honey, we get, for those of you who are used to eating fish, you can definitely eat salmon. And if you are okay, you can eat mussels as well. If not, don't worry. Eggs, spinach, Swiss chard. Now this is, we have a local variety of this. We call it amaranthus. So it's a red color spinach. So you can eat that as well. Palak, red palak, any type of leafy green vegetable for that matter. Any spinach that you get locally is completely okay. Flax seeds, source of omega-3 fatty acids, very helpful for us. It's very helpful for your hair as well, in case anybody is interested in that. Oatmeal, that's oats basically. It's very good. Blueberries, yes, we do get, but it's very expensive. So take a call on that. Broccoli, coconut, Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is basically curd. So curd is very good for us. Green tea, orange juice, pistachios, water, walnuts, even lemon juice. So lemon juice is also very helpful. I'm so sorry, my screen stopped sharing. And we're back. Okay. So even almonds for that matter, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, dried pumpkin seeds. So all of these are very good for us. So if you see something that's green and leafy, go for it. Any source of vitamin C, kiwi fruits, orange juice, lemon, go for it. It's very good. Water, I need not detail more on this, but it's very helpful for us. Curd, definitely. Coconut, if you're not used to, if you can, see if you can have a little bit of coconut oil in your diet. If not, just try and eat a piece of coconut every day. So these are all, some of the things that will help us in keeping our moods better. Now, I invite everybody to just follow my voice here. We'll just go through a small stress management visualization technique. Just follow my voice, everybody. Sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Try to sit in a non-disturbing environment, a quiet environment if possible. Close your eyes. Keep your hands and legs free. And just follow my voice. Take a deep breath in for 5 seconds. Hold your breath for 2 seconds. And release. Exhale for 10 seconds. Let's do that again. Inhale for 5 seconds. Hold your breath. And exhale for 10 seconds. Ensure that you exhale for twice as long as you inhale. Now, as you take a deep breath in, imagine yourself standing in a garden. There's a stone path beneath your feet, and you can feel the round, smooth stones on your feet. All around, you see beautiful trees, swaying gently in the wind. You walk ahead on the stone path, and you see a beautiful gate in front of you. Open the gate and step inside. Inside a beautiful garden. The garden is full of plants, tall trees, fruit-bearing trees, and flower-bearing plants. It's beautiful for you to watch. As you look around the garden, you notice a beautiful swing in the middle of it. Walk towards the swing and sit on it. As you gaze from the swing, you see the mountains in the distance. You feel the gentle breeze and you smell the flowers around you. Take a deep breath. Now get up from your swing and walk back towards the gate. On your way to the gate, pick up something from the garden which will remind you of your time there. Pick up something and walk towards the gate. Walk out of the gate, turn around and slowly close it. Walk back down the stone path to the place where you first started. Stand there and take a deep breath in again. And exhale. Now, slowly open your eyes and take a deep breath in again. And exhale. Look around you and try to find one object which is similar to what you picked up in the garden. If you cannot find the object, draw the object. Take a deep breath in again and come back to me. I'll move ahead. So de-stress to increase eustress. Eustress is a form of good stress, that is something that will help you push yourself. For example, if you're standing at the starting line at a race, the jitters you feel and this little bit of stress that you feel at that time is good for you. It's only when that stress crosses the threshold and starts becoming impeding to you is when it becomes distress. That is bad. So let's look at de-stressing to increase eustress. Manage your time management. Time is one of the major things which is a cause of stress, because we are either not timing ourselves properly, we don't have enough time to complete something, we're crunching time, we're running behind time, we're scared of time. So manage your time effectively. Meditate, spend time with nature. The green color has had a lot of positive effects on us. It's been proven as well, starting from the kids range. So try to spend at least a little time around a plant on a daily basis. If you have a garden, please go to it. If there is any way you can sit around plants, please do it. Or if you have a few pots, then just keep it around you, sit in the center and just breathe for 10 minutes every day. Think positive. As I said, not toxic positivity. You need not always be happy. It's okay to have difficult moments, but understand that you're strong enough to get through it, and you will take all measures necessary to get through it as well. Exercise, talk with friends, read books, listen to music. Many of you gave, some of the ways that you guys de-stress as well. So continue doing that. Now, this brings me to the end of my presentation. So before we open the forum for questions, I'm just going to ask my colleague here, Abhishek. He would like to present a video for all you guys. So once the video is over, you can just type in any questions you may have in the chat box and I will answer all of them. Abhishek, on to you. Abhishek, are you there?
I guess Abhishek is on mute. Let me check with him once.
Yeah, sure. In the meanwhile, guys, you can type out your questions in the chat box if you have any doubts or if you want to ask me something. You can just type it out in the chat box, and until Abhishek comes, I'll be answering. And again, in the end also, we will get back to the Q&A session. So you can type if you have any questions.
Hi,
So,
Sharon.
Shweta, yeah, Abhishek, please take it ahead. I'll answer the questions again.
Great. Okay. So, okay, guys. I believe the session is like there's a lot of questions. My God, the session has been wonderfully interactive. I'm believing. So, Sharon will just come back to your questions. Guys, let me in the meanwhile give you a little bit of a glimpse of something that's very interesting and very insightful for you in terms of how you are growing your career. So, obviously, one thing is going to be that these sessions, the workshops that you're looking at right now, the workshop that you're attending right now, these things are going to help you guys a lot in like developing a better career in the future, a better like journey in terms of work, and like different things. Very professionally and personally, you will develop yourself into a well-rounded individual. So this is just one piece of the jigsaw puzzle that you guys need to develop yourself into that kind of an ideal person, ideal work professional. There's a lot more that's always there. And to give you a good glimpse of it, let me just show you something. I hope the screen is visible for everyone.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
We usually get distracted by thoughts like, I'm unsure about my future. I lack confidence. I can't make friends. I'm not clear about my career goals. I don't have a good personality. I can't communicate well with others. I won't be able to secure a job. Or sometimes we find ourselves stuck in a spiral of questions like, what do I want to become? And what is the right career choice for me? What suitable job roles are available after my degree? What are the skills that industries are looking for? How to select the right skilling programs and learning path? How to create a resume that stands out? How to prepare best to clear the interview? How to become an entrepreneur? What all skills should I learn to become successful? Or sometimes you feel you don't know what's the right question to ask for your future. A survey done on 30,000 Indian students revealed that 3 out of every 5 students feel they don't have the properly defined and necessary information to decide their career paths, whereas 1 out of every 5 students feel there is too much information available and it is difficult to understand everything. These statistics reveal that students find it difficult to get on the right career path and feel lost in the pool of information. And that's where your Skill Dost comes in. We are committed to help you find the right questions for your holistic development and guide you in finding the answers as well. Your Skill Dost is an e-subscription program for understanding the right skills and learning path for holistic career development. These programs and workshops are designed by industry and subject matter experts from the field of marketing, management, sales, psychology, etc., and are available for all educational backgrounds, including MBA, BBA, BCom, BTech, and BE curriculums. Your Skill Dost has 4 main pillars. Growing your career revolves around 4 main categories: industry trends and career awareness sessions, employability skills, entrepreneurship and innovation, introduction to hard skills. Grow your communication revolves around 2 main categories: communication in everyday life and public speaking. Grow your personality workshops revolve around 3 major categories: strengths and weaknesses, assess and develop, leadership skills, personality development. Grow Your Aptitude revolves around 4 major categories: verbal aptitude for competitive exams, quantitative aptitude for competitive exams, critical thinking, and problem solving. In Growing Your Career Workshop series, you will have workshops like stock market basics, finance basics, fundraising and valuation, industry trends and career awareness workshops, and many more. In Growing Your Communication Workshop series, you will have workshops like conflict management, corporate ethics, non-verbal communication, essential skills of public speaking, etc. In Growing Your Personality Workshop series, you will have workshops like personal branding, goal setting, flexibility and adaptability, staying positive in the face of adversities, and other workshops as well. Lastly, in Growing Your Aptitude Workshop series, you will have workshops like data interpretation, avoiding analysis paralysis, defining creativity, recognizing your strengths and opportunities, etc. Moreover, topics for different workshops will keep on adding to keep the learners updated. You can choose different workshops as per your interests. These workshops will be virtual instructor-led, and learners can get the recorded sessions of previous workshops as well. We provide packages of different durations: monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, or yearly, so that you can choose the one that suits the best. And the best part is, you can get the entire program of 200 plus live workshops all for one entry fee. Learners have found the workshops insightful and provided us with amazing feedback, and we want to share the same with you all. So, hurry up and sign up for your Skill Dost program to upskill yourself and get the dream career you've been looking for. You can subscribe and try the program with 100% money back guarantee. To know more about us, visit learn.skillingindia.in.
So guys, what the program is all about is similar to what Sharanya ma'am is doing. We have a lot of in-house and external experts who will help you guys understand very well in what career your direction, like what your career direction should be, which are the skills you need, how should you develop your communication. There's a lot of things that are there in this 200 plus workshops. We have 3 to 4 workshops every week where we look at career, communication, personality, aptitude in different and diverse manners. So we make sure that you get an understanding of whatever you need whenever you come into this role later on in your life. So similar to what Sharna ma'am is doing right now, where mindfulness and emotional upskilling is something we are looking at as well. Similarly, we are doing hard, soft, emotional upskilling. There's a lot of things that are there, and obviously these workshops will help you get a good sense of what the industry is looking at when you guys step into the job market. So really do hope you guys look into that, and I'll be sharing the link for the same as well. So you guys can check it out, and then we'll just get back to the question and answers so that Sharanya ma'am can look into all of those. Thank you, and over to you, Sharanya.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so I'll just quickly answer all your questions here. So Shweta has asked, is it possible for a person to stay positive in all situations? Absolutely not. So that's not practical of us to assume that no matter what, we can stay positive. It's not right. Also, it's not kind for ourselves. We're not being kind to ourselves if we have such a high expectation that we remain positive in all situations. That's not possible. When an adverse situation comes, when a bad situation comes, when we are not in the best space, it's okay for us to acknowledge that, yes, this is a difficult time. And it's not possible for me to remain positive. It's okay to allow that situation in that moment to kind of take you, right? It's okay to experience the full length of a situation, however it may be. But when we say remain positive, it's in the general aspect. When there is nothing that's negatively currently affecting you, you can always maintain a positive outlook. When there is an adverse situation that you're facing, when you are not in a space to maintain positivity at that particular point of time, I think you need to just accept yourself that, yes, this is a temporary situation. And yes, I am feeling these difficult feelings at this minute, and it will pass. Time will heal and it will pass. And yes, I have to draw the strength to remain strong through this. I think that's most important more than anything else. I hope that answers your question, Shweta. From Priyanka, I have a question. When we are stressed, usually what we like to do, it doesn't work at that time as the mind is filled with worries. How do we combat that? Okay. So Priyanka, it's very valid, your question, in the sense that at that particular point of time when you're very stressed, right? So your mind will obviously focus on the issue that is causing you stress. So at that time, it's not very easy for us to switch off and kind of, just think, okay, I'll do something else and then I'll be fine. But the key over here is to remember that why are you facing this stressful situation? So in one of our other workshop, in stress management workshop, I think we had detailed this on how to deal with that stress and how to deal with it at that minute. When you're well prepared for something, when you have anticipated something and given it its due course of time, the chances of it stressing you out beyond a limit is very less. Right? So preparedness is the antidote to stress. So let's say everything is going fine and out of nowhere a situation comes. The first step over there, the first key over there is to realize that, okay, something out of your control has come, right? This is not something you could have seen. This is not something you could have controlled, and it's happened. It's okay. Now, how do I go about ensuring the solution to this problem that I'm facing or this issue that is causing me stress? Now, if the issue is a long-term issue and it has constantly been causing stress, now over there, I will say you can do things to de-stress. You will have to train your mind to not focus on that stressing situation and do something else, and then you can sit with it and kind of find a solution. But if it's an immediate situation which you did not see coming, then I think at that point of time, you can kind of, you can look at having a solution at hand first. Now, the easiest way you can kind of de-stress at that point of time, or you can kind of focus at that point of time, is if your mind is too full, try writing things down. Take a notebook, try to write down all your thoughts. What is it that's filling your mind so much? Because what happens, our mind tricks us, right? So there may not be so many things. Your mind may be tricking you into thinking, oh my God, there's so much and we don't have a solution. You can trick your mind into thinking something like that. So what you can do is, when you're feeling overwhelmed, write down it into a piece of paper, try to answer each of the question and see if you have a solution for each of it. And based on that, assess truly how much of a problem it is. That is something that you can do on an immediate basis when your mind is too filled with questions. Okay. But otherwise, if it's a long-standing stress, then you have to train your mind to pause for a minute and do some de-stressing activity. I hope I've answered your question, Priyanka.
Thank you.
There's another. Thank you, Priyanka.
Ways out of it. Yes.
Thank you. So there's a question from Shweta. There's a question from Kripa. How to calm ourselves in public while we are having anxiety? Okay, let's say that you were supposed to go on stage, and on stage you see the people and you get panicky. Immediate exercise, breathing. Press your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Press your tongue, the tip of your tongue, to the roof of your mouth, and take in deep breaths while holding it like that. It is known to calm people down. Take deep breaths, and at that minute, it is okay for you to pause. We think that, okay, we are in front of people and we have to immediately answer, we have to immediately respond or do something, otherwise people will get bored. These are overthinking patterns. It's okay for you to take a minute's pause over there. It's okay for you to feel that, okay, I'm going to take a minute, I'm going to calm myself, and then I'm going to address. That's one thing. So deep breaths, giving yourself the permission to take a pause. 3, what's the worst that could happen? It's okay. Nobody there is going to eat you up, right? What's the worst that can happen? Realizing that, see, this is your prefrontal cortex at work, right? It's trying to scare you. It's trying to scare you that, something really bad is going to happen. But that's not the case. So it's about telling your prefrontal cortex, what's the worst that could happen, right? That's number 3. And then another thing that you can do is be prepared, right? Be prepared not for what you're going to speak or what you're going to do in the public, but be prepared to be scared. It's okay. You can admit to yourself that, yes, when I go there, something like this may happen. So have that sort of a cognition in yourself. And another thing you can do is you can try to spot 5 colors. You can try to spot 2 smells, 2 sounds that you hear. These are all grounding techniques. You can read up on that. These are things you can do on an immediate basis if you are in public and you kind of get anxiety or you panic. I hope that helped, Kripa. Indu asks, does overconfidence or underconfidence affect the mental well-being of a person? Most definitely. Being overconfident will lead you to overestimating your abilities. So when the time comes that your abilities does get checked and you get a reality check at that point, it will hurt your ego, it will hurt your self-worth, and that will obviously affect your mental well-being. And also, what also happens when you're overconfident is you may not understand the reality around you. So that kind of will affect the way you process things around you, which in turn will affect mental well-being. Underconfidence, being low on self-confidence, yes, because you tend to perceive the negative in every situation. You tend to kind of defeat yourself in every situation. So that also will affect the well-being of a person. I hope I answered your question, Indu. Sushma, when a person is full of tension, workload, stress, that he comes across health issues, how do we control their thoughts and change their mind? Okay. So first things first here is we need to work on work-life balance, right? Because I'm reading workload and stress and tension coming, I'm assuming it's from work. So first step, working on work-life balance, drawing boundaries, right? So that's extremely important for us. Second thing is I can recommend a book. It's called You Can Heal Yourself by Louise Hay. I'll just type it out in the chat box for your reference. Do give that book a read. It will be very helpful in your situation. You Can Heal Yourself by Louise Hay. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Sushma. Shweta, if people distract our mind, is it our own mind which is causing stress? So whose mind is it? Where is this mind? Is it inside you or outside you? So yes, it is our own mind. Even if others see, there will always be situational factors. There will always be environmental factors which will cause us irritations and stress. But how we react to it is completely our own prerogative, right? So I think this is the base, and this is the belief that one form of psychotherapy, CBT, follows, that you can control your reactions to situations. because it's happening inside you. The situation may not be so bad, but by controlling your reactions, or I wouldn't say controlling, by assessing and taking charge of your reactions, you can elevate the issues that may come with the situation. So it happens in your mind itself, right? It's not an outside being controlling your mind. Sparshita asks, I get irritated easily for the smallest things. How do I manage that? So irritation often arises because probably you will have expectations. You would have expected a certain situation to go in a certain way, and when it doesn't, you get irritated. So it's about understanding yourself. It's about understanding what your expectations are, and how and who are you expecting to manage your expectations. So you need to get in touch with your expectations, and if it is realistic, and based on that, you can kind of see further. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going past time. I'll just quickly answer the other two questions, guys. If you have any more questions, I'll just do one thing. I'll given my email ID here. You can just mail your questions to me. I don't want to keep anybody waiting. I think Ali Khwaja sir is already there waiting. So my email ID is shalmiprakash@peakmind.in. Okay, so I'll just quickly, this is going to a particular person. I'm so sorry. So I'll just quickly answer the last question here. Okay, overthinking and you ruin your whole day. Probably try writing down the thoughts that are invading your mind so much, what you're overthinking about. Write down your thoughts and kind of assess how much of it is truly required for that thought. Kind of do an assessment and see how much of it is unnaturally occupying or unnecessarily occupying your mind space. Do it as an exercise, or when you realize you're overthinking, that's a perspective, that's an insight. So you can work on that. Developing insight is the first step, right? So if you've developed insight, if you realize you're overthinking, then the next step is to realize why you're overthinking so much. We spoke about the prefrontal cortex, right? So draw some inspiration from there. How to control anger, frustrated at many things. Again, anger and frustration, irritation arises from unmet expectations. So we'll have to look at expectation management. Okay, how to actually manage emotional side of us. Okay, guys, I'll do one thing. You all can just email me your questions, yeah, and I will be happy to answer all of it to each one of you, right? So I think Rashmi, Avinash, please do mail me your queries. I will answer it for you because I do not want to take up too much time, right? So I'm going to end my session here. Yeah?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the insightful session on how an individual should be emotionally and mentally strong in tough times. Thank you for being with us and taking out time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much, ma'am. After substantial session 1, I welcome you all for the second session, and with privilege, I introduce you all to the next speaker, a very prolific and generous personality, Dr. Ali Khwaja, who will be discussing on positive mental attitude. Dr. Ali Khwaja, the chairman of Banjara Academy, counselor, columnist, principal faculty, life skill coach, and a perpetual student. Dr. Ali Khwaja is the founder and head of Banjara Academy, a unique institution committed to improve the quality of life of individuals. He has always craved out his own path and been a freelancer, ensuring that work is joy every day. He conducts 1-year part-time diploma in counseling skills and 5-month certification program on life skills. He has been presenting papers in national level workshops and has written over 30 books and 80 booklets on practical aspects of day-to-day life. He writes regular columns and articles in Deccan Herald and edits newsletters. He is invited regularly to conduct workshops, and his prime focus is empowering individuals to help themselves. We are indeed very happy and privileged to have you amidst us. We are all eagerly waiting to hear from you, sir. I hand over the session to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Let me tell you a quick little story which will perhaps stimulate your mind and make you think about what I'm going to talk today. Long back, there was a very famous shoe company called Bata Shoe Company. You can ask your parents. Every city, every town, every locality had a Bata shoe shop. Okay, they had spread all over the country and they had a great monopoly in footwear. The management of Bata one day said that we have covered the entire country, but India also has two faraway group of islands. One is called the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The other is called Lakshadweep Islands. We do not have Bata shoe shops in these islands. But are they potential? Do we invest in opening a shoe shop there? How to find out? So they caught hold of two salesmen. One they sent to Andamans and one they sent to Nicobar, to Lakshadweep. They said, go there, spend a week, do a market survey and find out what is the potential to open a shoe shop there and whether we'll be able to sell footwear to those people. The person who went to Andaman Islands, within 24 hours sent a telegram. There used to be telegrams in those days. So he sent a telegram saying that I have walked around the whole town. It consists of nothing but tribals. These people do not wear footwear. They walk around barefoot. They are not going to be wearing shoes or slippers or anything of that sort. So what's the point in opening a shoe shop here? Nobody wears shoes. So forget about 1 week. I think I'll catch the next ship and I'll come back home. The other fellow from Lakshadweep also sent a telegram after 1 day saying, coming here, I was amazed to see that the entire population is that of tribals who do not wear any footwear. So every inhabitant of this island is a potential customer. None of them has a shoe or a slipper. Imagine how many footwear we can sell. Please send shipments. We will start selling immediately. Okay. What is the moral of the story, or what does it make you think of? The fact that it is just a question of attitude. It's just a question of what perspective you are looking at things. One person looked at it in a very negative perspective, and another person for the same scenario looked at it in a positive perspective. Now today, when we are here on this platform at a time when the second wave of COVID is roaring, we don't know who it will hit, when, where, how long it will last. So many uncertainties, right? The first one was bad enough last year, you will remember. Things suddenly came out of the blue. Nobody knew what to do. The entire nation went under a lockdown. Colleges, schools, everything shut down. You couldn't even go out and meet friends. You couldn't do any activities. Initially, it was for a fixed number of days. Then it got extended. And then even when the unlock 1.0 and 2.0 started, there were so many restrictions. People thought, okay, we have been through the worst. Things are now improving and now things will start getting back to normal. It was taking time. There were a lot of things. Then the vaccines came and then the vaccines were slow and we were all waiting when the vaccines will be available. And then we were thinking, okay, in a few months, we will all be vaccinated and then we will not have this COVID problem. And suddenly last month, the second wave hit. And as you know, this time it has been worse in many ways. Last year, very few of us had, our loved ones, friends, relatives who actually died of COVID. This year, I think almost every one of us knows at least one or two or few people who have lost their lives to COVID. And with that, today, there is immense fear. There is anxiety. There is uncertainty. Now, what I want to tell you is, Ke Sara Sara. Whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to seek. Ke sara sara. We can never look into the future. But there is one proverb which I have always believed in, and which, if you take up as a mantra, as a philosophy of life, you will never be pushed down. It's very simple. It says, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Hope for the best, meaning to say, do not become despondent. Do not go into depression. Do not start thinking negatively. Don't say, oh, my exams have got cancelled, exams have got postponed. What will happen? There won't be any campus placement. Will I get a job? Will I complete my course? Will this happen? Will that happen? The moment you start thinking that way, you're not hoping for the best, right? You're only allowing that anxiety to overtake you. And the more you keep thinking, the more you keep putting your time and effort and energy into all these thoughts of these question marks. What will happen here? Will the exam be held? Will I pass? Will I get a job? Will this happen? Will that happen? These are all questions which do not have answers because they are in the future. Nobody has an answer. Even the government doesn't have an answer. The medical experts do not have answers. So who are we to question all these things and waste our time doing that? In fact, when you develop anxiety, severe anxiety, when you start getting scared of the future, I want you to know that anxiety is described as interest that you pay on a loan which you have not taken. You have not taken a loan, but you're already paying interest on it. That is what is anxiety. Has something really happened? Yes. If you have been one of the very tragic and very unfortunate people who have, let's say, lost a family member, lost somebody very near and dear to you, a lot needs to be done. That's what we are doing as counselors in Banjara Academy, my team, and all of us. We are reaching out to people. We are helping people go through that, what is known as a grieving process. We have to understand that when there is a death, when there is a permanent loss of somebody whom you loved or who was close to you, it can be very shattering. But if you take the necessary steps, if you go through the proper grieving process, if you allow those feelings to come and overwhelm you instead of running away from those negative feelings, it starts with shock, denial, numbness. No, this cannot be happening to me. It goes on to questioning, anger. What did these doctors do? Why couldn't this have been done? Why not this? Maybe even guilt. I should have looked after that person. I should have done something better. I should have taken more precautions. Like that, there is a process of grieving that goes through. Okay. So understand that if anything like that is happening to you or to any of your near and dear, any friends or anyone of that sort, please ensure that they get in touch with experts, mental health professionals, and people like that who are going to help you. Our team is also available to you. In a few minutes before we wind up, I will give you our contact in case anyone whom you know needs to bounce back from a death, a bereavement, a tragedy. Then whatever best we can do at the emotional level, we are there and we will help you with that. Now, what about the others? I told you, I can wallow in anxiety. I can sit at home covering with fear and wondering what is going to happen. Will this COVID strike me? Will it strike my family members? Will it strike my friends? And in the same breath, I told you, it's not just the virus, it is the future. Will my career also face death? Physical death is one thing. But what about my career? What about my studies? What about my future? I may still be alive 1 year, 5 years from now, but will my future be destroyed because of all these things that are happening? Let me assure you that if you take the right steps, nothing of that sort will happen. And that is the primary theme of what I am discussing with you today. In a small nutshell, in a quick and practical and concise manner, I want to take you through the steps that are required to ensure that you develop a positive mental attitude which goes by that mantra, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Have you thought, for example, that at present, Karnataka is under a lockdown till 24th? That is the announcement by the government. Let us hope for the day when this lockdown will be lifted, when we will be able to get back to our routine, when we will be able to go to college, when we'll be able to meet friends, when we'll be able to do our exercises and socializing and everything possible. That is what I'm hoping for. But supposing the government extends it, they say 1 more week of lockdown or 1 more month of lockdown. Have you given a serious thought as to what you are going to be doing in that extra week or that extra month of lockdown? That is what I mean by preparing for the worst. Practically, not getting scared and not going on saying, oh my, 1 more week, 1 more month, what will happen and all that. No. Yes, this is a fact. Next week, the government announces that no, the cases are too much. We cannot allow people to move on. So we are extending this lockdown. And that's only one of the things. There are so many other ways in which we need to prepare for the worst. What happens if I cannot continue with these online classes? And what happens if I'm not being able to connect? I'm not the type of person who's happy. I used to enjoy classroom sessions, but somehow I'm not connecting to these online classes. So what do I need to do? If online classes are going to continue for quite some time to come, even when the lockdown is lifted, as you know, last year, when the lockdown was lifted, people started moving around, business establishments opened, schools and colleges did not open. So this year, how can we predict? So am I prepared for it? There are always alternatives. Remember that. That is the beauty of life. Life always offers different alternatives. The people who get pulled down, the people who drown in this tsunami of COVIDs or lockdowns that are hitting us now, are the people who develop what is referred to as a TINA syndrome. TINA is not somebody's name. It is a short form for TINA. They say there is no alternative. The moment you start thinking in TINA terms, no, I'll never be able to pass. No, I cannot connect to these online classes. No, I don't think I will be able to get a job when I pass. I don't know, I was hoping that I'll get admission for some higher studies and this and that, but I don't think now it is going to happen. We have been hit very badly financially. Our family's income has come down. So with that, I don't think I can survive. This is what we refer to as the TINA syndrome. Pull yourself out of it, because I'm telling you with not years, but decades of experience that there are always alternatives. Everything has an alternative. It is just up to you to have that creative thinking, to think outside the box, to be able to find ways and means when none existed, to create a path when there is no path in front of you. That is what you need to do, not just at the time of tsunami, of COVID, but at a time which will last you for a lifetime. This skill that I am referring to, this ability and this strength that I am talking about, it takes a little bit of time and effort and things like that. But if you can do that, believe me, you would have learned a skill far more useful and far more important than any of the subjects, any of the textbooks that you are reading. It is what we refer to as a basic life skill. Life exists, right? And life exists till the last day. The moment you start getting scared of death, you are already dead. A friend of mine recounted a very touching little, story about his childhood. He said that when he was a child, he did not have a bicycle, and a friend of his had a bicycle. One day, his friend came and told him very generously, "I will lend you my bicycle for one day. Enjoy it and give it back to me tomorrow morning. I'll come and collect it." He left the bicycle and went away. My friend said that was the best day of my life. The whole day I roamed around on that cycle till late in the night, till my mother dragged me back home. I was so happy. I went to sleep very happily. The next morning I woke up and I realized now my friend will come and take away the bicycle. I looked at the bicycle and I felt very sad. Yesterday, what a wonderful time I had with it. I still had the bicycle. I could have taken it and gone for one more round, but I said, what's the point? If I take that cycle and my friend turns up, I'll feel even more disappointed. So let me not touch the bicycle. Let me do something. His mind was all on the bicycle, but he was trying to distract himself doing other things, feeling very, very, very depressed and negative. The whole day went off like that. The friend didn't come. The next morning he woke up and said, today he will definitely come and he'll take away the bike. So no point in trying to even have a ride on the bike, and he didn't. You know what happened? For 4 days, the friend did not come to collect the bicycle. Only after 4 days, he came and said, thank you. Hope you enjoyed my cycle. And he took it and went away. And that is when my friend realized I had the cycle for 4 days and I didn't even ride on it once. Why? Because I was only thinking about the fact that he will come and take away the cycle. Isn't it? Now that is what I want you to understand. In fact, my friend puts it in a very nice manner with the Hindi proverb which says, Zindagi 4 din ki hai. Life is literally 4 days. Enjoy those 4 days. The day, Yamraj is going to come and take away your cycle, which is take away your life. It will happen. But today you have that cycle. Today you have life. And nothing is greater than that. If you learn to enjoy every aspect of life. So I want you to actually sit down and think. When you get pulled down, when you feel angry, when you feel irritated, and when you feel that, why did this have to happen to me? Why did such a big, lockdown come in? Why does this virus hitting so many of us? Why this second wave has come? Why they are even talking about a third wave that is going to come? With that, even this academic year will go off and nothing will come out of it. When all these thoughts come to you, you start thinking, what am I learning from this? Every negative experience can be converted into a stepping stone for success. But how do we do that? That can only be done if you have what is known as a positive mental attitude. The authorities have locked down your body. You cannot step out of the house. You cannot go to college. You cannot go and do your sports and exercises. You cannot go shopping. You cannot go to a cinema hall. That is what they have locked up. They have not locked up your mind. Your mind is absolutely free. And you have to take up the stance which Priyanka just said, Zindagi na milegi dobara. Second time that cycle will not come to you, but the cycle is there with you. Every extra day that it is there with you, it is there with you. Doesn't matter whom the cycle belongs to also. No? The same way life doesn't belong to us. But it is there. I can use it 24/7. So start learning from it. Let me tell you, in all my years of experience, people who have never had a setback in life, people who have lived a very smooth life, from day one, they had excellent parents, good families, good upbringing, good education, good relationships. Everything went so smoothly. They did not have to face any COVIDs or anything of that sort. One fine day, if any form of tragedy overtook them, if any hurdle came in the way of their routine and normal life, they were shattered because they were not prepared for it. It's like a person who has never done running or jogging in his life. If one day he is told that to save your life, you have to run 10 miles, obviously he will fall down halfway through. But if the person does not have a vehicle and he has to walk or run or jog to go to wherever he has to go to, it may be 1 mile, it may be 2 miles, but he is used to it. He says, yes, I don't have a vehicle so many times. So whenever I don't have a vehicle, I have to walk. If I'm in a hurry, I even have to sprint or jog and reach my destination. People who face these sort of things, if the day comes when they have to run that 10 miles to save their life, they can do it. And that is what these negative experiences, like the pandemic, like the lockdowns, like the closing down of regular classrooms in the educational institutions, these are all your stepping stones. You will be facing different types of challenges in life. Education will get over in no time. Before you know it, you would have finished your graduation, maybe even your post-graduation, whatever you do. After that, remember, on an average, in your younger generation, retirement is not going to be at 60 years. The way healthcare is going, the way longevity is improving, you will be a productive member of society till about 75 or 80 years of age. That is roughly 50 years of productive life ahead of you. If today, this whole tsunami, I keep saying tsunami, the whole COVID business lasts for, let us say, 1 year more. As I said, prepare for the worst. Let us say it lasts 2 years more. Till 2023, you cannot step out of your houses. You lost 2 years, right? 2 years you have lost, but 50 years you have to look ahead. What if this virus catches me and I die? No problem. I'm dead and gone anyway. I don't have to worry about studies. I don't have to worry about exams. I don't have to worry about jobs. I will be living happily in wherever that heaven or whatever is there, because I died without committing any sin or without doing anything, hurting anybody else. So I'm sure God will be kind enough to me. So that is an extreme possibility which I'm prepared for. But 99% of us are not going to die. If you just look at the figures, however horrifying these figures look to you, I want you to understand that 99% of the people, more than 99% of the people are recovering from COVID. 0.5% of the people are dying. Very small number, right? Now, if you happen to be in that 99% or 99.5%, are you preparing the 2023 onwards till probably 2000, what is that? 63, 73, 83. Till that time, what am I going to do? In that also, let me give you a quick lesson which I was taught. And then we will have an open house. Let us see what are your doubts and questions. Please feel free to put on the chat box any comments, any questions that you have. I'd like you to have this session as a takeaway, something personal of benefit to you. So I'd like to share with you what one of my teachers taught me when I was in school. He said, set very lofty long-term goals. Top. He asked me, what is your ultimate ambition in life? And I said, sir, I want to be president of India. My classmates laughed, but my teacher said, why are you laughing? We live in a free democratic country where any Indian can aspire to become the president of India. So why not one day Ali can become president? And he said, congratulations. When you start thinking so lofty, so high, you develop that inner strength. You develop that positive mental attitude that I am going to work hard and I'm going to struggle. But he said, add to that very realistic short-term goals, which can be practically achieved within a limited period of time. And one of the short-term goals that he and I picked up at that time was, I was a member of the scout team, scouts and guides, no? I aspired to become what was at that time known as a president's scout. I worked very hard for 1.5 years and I got that badge and that award called President Scout, which is given in Rashtrapati Bhavan by the President of India. I still have the certificate given to me by the President of India, declaring me to be a President's Scout. It was a short-term goal. But when I achieved that, I said, I know that I can move on to better things, right? I have still not become President of India. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what and where I reach. Destinations are never important. The question is, are you enjoying the journey? Every time I set a short-term goal and say, let me fulfill this. When this lockdown came also, I said, okay, now I can't step out for whatever X number of days. Let me set some very realistic short-term goals of what I'm going to achieve. So I've written I sat down and started revising them. I said, before this lockdown is lifted, I will never get time to, revise all of them. I got that time, and I'm halfway through the process of revising and updating those books and booklets that I have written, and I find there is so much that I can add, so much that I can change, so much I can improve on them. I'm feeling so warm and nice that I got this opportunity to do it. These are the type of things that I wanted to share with you. I have my colleague on board with me, our director, Purnima Ganesh. Can I see Purnima? I'm not able to see you on the screen.
Ali, I am able to see you on screen.
Thank you. I would like Purnima to quickly update you on what can be done possibly to develop this positive mental attitude, and also if any issue, any problem comes which you feel you are unable to handle, how do you go about it? By that time, I will be waiting and staring at the chat box to see what are the questions and comments that come from you. Go ahead, Purnima.
Thank you. In fact, I wanted to mention that having a positive mental attitude through our whole lifetime is extremely essential for each one of us. But then in the wake of this pandemic, I think it becomes all the more important that we have an attitude which is for a situation and not against anything. So as Ali was mentioning that, he used to write down notes. He started doing that and changing all his notes. I thought I'll just give you a couple of examples, see if it, kind of connects to your normal day-to-day life, that if you can just make a list of things that you're actually possibly missing out. So it could be something like traveling is not happening. Maybe visiting some of your people is not happening. You have some restricted purchases, which happens only during the, you have to complete it all before 9:30 and you have to be done with everything. And possibly some of your things are not getting repaired and they're like, just like that. Now, across this, next to that, parallelly write down what can you do in at least in the most minimalistic way to tackle that situation. So let's assume you know a engineering, a friend of yours who's an engineer and say, hey man, my plumbing has gone for a toss. What do you think I can do? So what happens is you're asking help to another person. They feel good about it. You learn a new skill, and possibly together you can fix that particular issue which you are having. Some of us, if we are already you're earning in some through some way or something, and if you have had a salary cut or something, that could be one issue. Or if you're students and if you have your pocket money is cut a little, both ways, don't look at it as a cut. Can you now look at it as a fund management? You're managing your fund in a different way, and see where all that you actually had been a little extravagant and things like that. So if we make every issue that comes our way as a learning to find out that how can I circumvent it, and start with the most simplest of situations that you face on a normal day-to-day basis. If you think, hey, I would go down and every evening I would run and I would have a nice time, instead of 5 p.m., do you want to do it at 5 a.m.? It needs a little bit of tweaking in your daily schedules. But then, if you really, really wish, there are hundreds of excuses that you may find not to do a thing or keep cribbing. But there can be one genuine reason by which you can just make it happen. And that is where I think that if you're a little positive about things, that okay, this has happened. Now I have two choices: sit down, crib, keep blaming the media and this person, that person, and everybody. Or I can say that, fine, this has happened. Can I find some way out and just keep steering forward? Try it out. Ali, let's see if we have questions coming up. Thank you.
You can tell them that even after the session is over, if they want to get in touch with us.
Yeah, I'll do that, Ali. Basically, for those who want to, are you wondering what Banjara Academy is all about? Or did you at least find out that that was one thing we could have done, right? You have your internet connection, your mobile data, and your gadgets with you. So I'll hats off to those who have actually found out about our academy, the kind of work that we do. But for those who had an inclination but could not do it for whatever reason, I give that benefit of doubt to you. Banjara Academy is a counseling house and a training center. I like to call it a counseling house because a lot of counseling happens at our academy. It can be face to face, it can be telephonic, and it can also be through email. So later on, I'll also put the website address just for you to have a look at it, for the kind of work that we are doing. Maybe some of our services may be of help also to you. And through the whole process, we have a wonderful team of counselors who will be with you. You can, speak to them, any issue.
And it is all free.
It is absolutely free. The complete process, any kind of counseling is totally free at the academy, be whatever way, face-to-face, telephonic, or email.
Yes, so Purnima will put our contacts on. As I mentioned, that our aim is to help the youth. Our aim is to help the younger generation like you to move on to creating a better world. You can do it. I have a lot of faith in the Indian youngsters, because wherever Indian boys and girls have gone abroad, they have beaten everybody. You may even complain about the Indian education system, and you may be a little frustrated or angry. Why do you have to study so much subjects? Why do we have so many exams and all that? But let me tell you that this is the education system which prepares you to such a strong foundation that tomorrow, as a global citizen, you either go to study or you go to work, or you're sitting here and working and competing with global and international competitors. You will be able to not only hold your front, but also to be able to compete and do better than a lot of people who come from the so-called developed countries. I want each one of you to feel proud of being an Indian citizen in this 21st century, when India is doing so well despite whatever hiccups we are facing right now because of the pandemic. It's just a passing phase. Let me assure you, our country is doing extremely well. And I want you to be proud of it. I want you to start off by being thankful to your parents and to your teachers who have brought you to this level. It's only a very small fraction of Indian boys and girls who come to that stage where they can get higher education in a good educational institution. You are among that 10%. 90% do not get the opportunities that you get. And from here, you are on a launching pad. You can move on to doing anything that you want to do. That is one thing that I want to assure you, provided you are, willing to widen your horizons, think outside the box, explore the world, and have a positive mental attitude, which we are talking about. Yes, Purnima?
Ali, in fact, I was also just thinking that, for us to develop a positive mental attitude, it's important that we associate ourselves with things which are really positive in nature. It could be news from the media, or it could be our, important relationships. Wherever we see that there is negativity, if we can try and avoid it or help them out also with it, and, surround us by a lot of positivity. So we know that our steering ahead becomes a lot more easier. Positive news, positive people, positive frame of mind, and kind of a little calmness.
Absolutely true. There is a question that I want to know: do you, anyone you know, suffer from an anxiety disorder? Now, I am a person who is very, very conservative about putting labels. Many of us have anxiety. Very few of us suffer from an anxiety disorder. So before we start putting labels, let us talk about the preventive part of it. If anyone has anxiety, which is growing, which is getting over-enveloping, which may eventually land up in a disorder requiring psychiatric help or medication or something, a lot can be done. And that is the reason why I spoke today and told you that anxiety is the interest that you pay on a loan which you have not taken. What happens if I become COVID positive? What happens if a family member gets COVID positive? What happens if somebody dies? We need to develop that attitude of overcoming that. How to overcome the fear, anxiety of environmental stigma in the current situation with, see, environment will always be negative. Remember, when you are different, when you are, not conforming to the herd mentality and the crowds, there will always be people who will create stigma, who will look down, who will do this. The only way is to ignore them. You cannot fight crowds. You cannot fight people who are negative and who are superstitious and who are not open to it. The best thing to do is to ignore them. Spend more time in the company of people who are open to understanding and learning about things.
And you're muted, I think.
Am I muted? You can't hear me? No.
No, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah.
We can hear.
Yeah. So these are the type of situations, and we can systematically and work on it. In fact, I would like to leave you with a request. Please reach out to your peers. See, you are the first line. Whenever something happens to a friend, a classmate, they don't find it very convenient to go to their teachers or their parents or to some professionals and all that. But if you find that you have a friend, you have a classmate, you have a neighbor who seems to be developing fears, anxieties, depression, anything of that sort, first level is start connecting with them. Just hold their hand, be there with them, give them positive strokes. Tell them, "Main hoon na, I am there with you." Only if things get bad, then motivate that person to seek help. And as Purnima told you, we are one of the people who welcome anybody and everybody. It's a free service. Anybody can get in touch with us either through email or by phone, and once the lockdown is lifted, even in person. Sureka says students are losing their college and school life due to the pandemic. How to make them in positive? To supplement it, Sureka. What you are losing out by not being able to physically go to college, there are a lot of activities which you can do, and that's what we are working on a day-to-day basis to help people to understand what are the activities. Just because you are not allowed to go to college or not allowed to go to school does not mean that your learning has to stop. We are regularly working on this issue. In fact, we are just starting this course which we have called child and adolescent development, in which on a weekly basis we are giving tips and techniques of how to work towards improving your knowledge, your learning. I'll just leave you with one tip before we close the session. One of the activities that I have been recommending is make a group of friends who live generally in the same locality, okay? And start recording what are the facilities and what are the type of people available in your locality. How many nursing homes or hospitals you have, and what type of patients do they cater to? How many doctors' clinics are there? How many medical shops are there, and what is the timing normally? What is the timing during the lockdown? Where are the vegetable shops? Where do you get some basic facilities of this or that? Where is the nearest post office? Sit down and start exploring, exchanging notes, and you will find some excitement. Oh, I found out that there is this available. I did a survey on restaurants, and I found that there is a wonderful Tibetan restaurant in our locality, which is different from Chinese restaurants. It gives so much, life. When you cannot step out, when you cannot go out, you can do the same thing sitting in your own thing. These are the type of things that you can do. I'm just giving you one thing for want of opportunity in today's session. Yes. Jaisima, I definitely have the time. Please type in your question, because before we complete the session in a couple of minutes, if possible. As long as there is suffering in the world, how can we justify devoting time and resources to positive psychology? Isn't human suffering more important than well-being? Absolutely right. There is no such thing as positive psychology. I told you I don't believe in all these labels and this and that. But why is it? Supposing I've had a death of a loved one. What happens if you come there and sit with me and give me some company, give me some reassurance, talk to me every now and then, distract my mind? That's all that you need to do, right? I don't have to sit 24/7 mourning about the loss that I have been through. So while there is this suffering and this and that, there are positive things happening. We have to understand that we can look into the thing. And yes, what Abdul Suman says is right, but it is more due to hypertension, fear of the pandemic, and all these things that are happening in this time. And I can assure you that we can balance out life. It is not as difficult. It is not the end of the world. Life still exists. Barring the tragedy of those few people who have lost their lives or are losing their lives, all of us are here in this world. Let us make the best of it and let us move out of it. Yes, Purna.
I think there is a question which they want to read out.
We have come to the end of the session. I do not want to overshoot the time. We are very punctual in these matters. We do not take anybody's time beyond the thing. So as we have told you, we are there for you. You can question us. You can send us, your queries and this and that, and we will talk about it. The issues like what you said, that when there is so much suffering, where is the question of positive psychology? I would like to go deeper into that and, talk about balancing life and things. There's so many things like that that we can do. I would like to leave all of you again with this positive message that however much the suffering, whatever may be the negativity that is happening right now, please understand that we are a nation of resilient, of very harmonious, very hardworking, and very wonderful, caring, loving people. And I personally feel, and I want to share with you, that I am proud of being part and parcel of this wonderful country. And I want all of you to feel positive in the same way. I leave you with the wonderful message. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. The session was really very interesting, and we got to learn so many day-to-day aspects of our life. And during this tough time, during this COVID-19 or this pandemic time, how we have to combat all the issues and be mentally strong and mentally fit. Thank you so much for your time and taking time for our students and being with them. Thank you, sir. And here we come to the end of first day session of 4-day workshop on mental well-being. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our principal, Dr. Nikita Alu, for providing us the opportunity to organize such a knowledgeable workshop. I would like to thank Ms. Sharanya Prakash and Dr. Ali Khwaja for taking your precious time for our students, and I hope the lessons learned will be adopted for being mentally strong and fit. I would like to thank all our participants for being active listeners for the day 1 of the 4-day workshop on mental well-being. The schedule for day 2 is as follows. We will begin our day 2 session at 10:30 a.m., which will be presided by Dr. Uma Warrior, who will be focusing on mental well-being awareness during unprecedented times. Until then, I request all of you all to stay home, stay safe, take care, be mentally strong, and be mentally fit. The feedback link is shared in the chat box. I request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback link before you leave the meeting. Thank you, one and all. Jai Hind. Participants, the Zoom link for day 2 session for that tomorrow session is in the chat box. I kindly request all of you to please copy the Zoom link for tomorrow's session. And please fill the feedback before exiting the meeting. Thank you, one and all.